What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Charismatic Rebel. Today, I'm going to teach you how to undo the conditioning that is meant to keep you a slave. And I don't use that term lightly. There is a ruling class above you, so-called, called government, and they do intend to control your life. That's why they are the gubernare meant, the control system, the state of being controlled, or the state of mind control. This is how you become free. First, you have to recognize that your mind is currently a pattern of conditioning. Essentially, as a child, you were free, you were spontaneous, you were wild, you'd express yourself. You didn't know any different. And then society said, hey, be polite, better seen than heard, be a good little boy, be a good little girl, training it into you to suppress aspects of yourself. And this is very necessary and healthy so that you fit into a society. But unfortunately, there's a lot of conditioning that needs to be undone to unleash your vital energy so that you can actually have an open heart and care about what's going on in the world, have an open belly and throat so you can speak about what's going on in the world and say no to those who try to control you because you have strong psychological boundaries, and free your voice, your face, okay, your pelvis. They don't want that sexual aspect because they're trying to, suppress that as well. They don't want people having families, having babies, and then kind of rejecting the state to tend to their own. They want people that are kind of hopelessly dependent on the state. The family unit is kind of its own unit, and the government doesn't like that because they want the collective unit that they control. Does this make sense? So we want to be breaking out of these boxes that are put in you by parents, teachers, people like this, authority figures. This is not to say that authority is bad in the sense of your parents have authority over you when you're a kid, or your boss has authority over you in a way of speaking. We are talking about control, coercion, murder, trespass, assault, these sorts of direct forms of control, and then authority being like this idea that they have the right to control you. When, of course, as an adult, other adults don't have a right to control you. As an adult, you don't have the right to control a child beyond what is reasonable to keep them safe. You can't just play these manipulative games to try to mold them so that you can feel comfortable about yourself. You're supposed to be nurturing a child. Okay, creating an independent person with a mind that thinks, right? Again, this is not what they want. They want the conformists. Okay, so we have to understand that these institutions, these figures, these belief systems have been locked into the muscular system, into the nervous system. And you can see it in people's faces. You can see their look of fear and terror if you start saying things outside the box, outside the Overton window of what you're allowed to think. They have their little I voted sticker. You just ask them, hey, who'd you vote for? And they tell you, and you criticize it. They're blowing up. They're freaking out. You could go on and on and on and just start picking apart at people's robot personalities and the way they're conditioned, etc. So I don't think it really takes a genius to say, hey, these people, they're acting on automatic and they're afraid of facing those shadow things and becoming whole and becoming like an actualized individual. This is what we want to help you to do, to become a sovereign individual. Sovereign meaning above rule, super regnus, above rule. This is what you can become. But first, ironically, you must become the ruler of your own kingdom. And by that I mean your body mind, your soul, if you will, your psyche. You are going to rule over it. We must be like mothers to ourselves as well as fathers. And this is as an adult, our responsible role is taking care of that inner child and parenting ourselves. This is what we must do. Otherwise, we want mommy and daddy to parent us. The red Republicans, the blue Democrats, the red and blue, the opposite ends of the color spectrum, representing the right and left brains, which of course are out of balance, and that's why they're always fighting each other, because they want a mommy or a daddy surrogate parent figure ruling over them. And the people who had more daddy issues, they want the authoritative father figure ruling over them. They want him to protect them, like the current president. And then, of course, the people with mommy issues, they want that guy or that girl who's going to nurture them and take care of them and just give them stuff for free and kind of spoon feed them with hippie bullshit where they're never going to talk about the need to defend yourself or your loved ones. They're not talking to that masculine aspect. They're treating you like a mommy. And then it's going to be the same with the Republicans because they're playing on people's internal divides. And what we need to do is get you in charge of yourself, in the sovereign role in your own psyche. And we can do this by several methods. The first that I would recommend is meditation. Once you start meditating, you can take a step back and observe these thought processes going on within you. And this allows you to better rule over your kingdom, so to speak, like we were saying. Start to build that sovereignty so that you start to notice how a lot of times you're running on reactive programs. Your whole personality construct is a reactive program. And when you meditate, you start to break down those programs a little bit, at least, by observing them. You need to take that first step and start to meditate and kind of get some self-awareness on yourself. But it's not just all about meditation. It's good to be aware, but what we want to do is actually take the reins of power in the kingdom. We want to actually be able to unify all of these different parts together. And my preferred tool for doing that is bioenergetics, which works on the body, as well as Reichian breathwork. These are both forms of body-based therapy, and they're both things that I love doing. You have to be somewhat cautious because they are therapy. They bring up repressed material psychologically, but by doing this, you are engaging in psychological shadow work, and you are bringing into balance those chakras, if you will. You are kind of opening up the energy systems in your body. Another way of putting this is, you're going into there, getting those repressed emotions up and out and integrated into your system so that they're not running you. And perhaps most interestingly, you start to break up your socially polite mask and your needy little behaviors that you did when you were a kid to get approval. And you start to break down all these things such that what you're left with is basically a much more authentic version of you. It feels as if now you have more free will because you do. Like I said, you are the king in the kingdom. So this free will that you're going to use to create your decisions, if there's all these reactive programs from your childhood running you that you're not aware of, even if you read self-help books, I see you watching, you have these programs. So they are running you, and you have no idea how deep they're running you because they go into the body. In other words, the you that you are in this physical reality that sees things, that hears things and smells things and feels and moves and expresses and takes things in, this physical unit, if you will, it has been contracted and fed all these programs. So the way that you're actually interpreting the information that I'm giving you right now, the information that I'm putting out there, it comes in through all these filters, and you can't see that because how could you, right? It's a program that's running that you're accustomed to, so you don't understand that it's a program. It just seems like a default. What happens is when you do these kinds of works, you break apart that programming, and then the system can reorient around that and start to express itself in different ways. So when you're talking to women, for example, you're no longer having all these fears from 8th grade about Jenny that rejected you or whatever. It's like these things are seen much more clearly as implants. And you're like, see that? It's like I can feel that in the pit of my stomach. You're like, because I actually feel those programs right here, right now, because I've done a lot of this work. It's like, I'm very aware that I have programs still. I'm not perfect. I never said I was. So when I bring it up, I'm like, I'm just feeling how much of a dead weight that shit is that I don't need, that's just stored inside me. And it's like, you gotta start to let that shit out, dude. You gotta get it out. Okay? It's not, if it's stuck inside, it's going to poison you. Like I said, it's stuff that that's not to say it's evil and bad. It's just that it's like, is food evil and bad? No. But if you don't take the trash out, your house starts to smell really bad. You have to put it in its proper place, in the receptacle, and then do what's proper with it. The process of moving it to the trash, taking it to the dump, That is the process of shadow work. It's like brushing your teeth for your emotions, okay? You have to do this stuff. And once you start to do it, like I said, you start taking your power back. So long to all those blocks that have blocked you in your life, because now that thing that's actually driving your life forward, it's not running into those blocks. It can just go. You understand? Does this make sense? Like when I'm talking to you guys, there's a thing that you could call it me, my individuated unit of consciousness, my free will awareness unit. Okay, get real weird about it. Like there's a me here that's not the body, it's playing the body in like The Sims. And that me now has more control because the decision space has grown, because fear was locking down the body, and I have now released those fears so that now I have a bigger access to more decisions of how to move my body, how to express myself. Maybe in the past I would have been talking really fast because I was secretly, subconsciously afraid that people weren't going to listen to me, and that just seemed normal. I didn't feel like I was talking fast. And I'm sure you can relate to this one, because someone might point it out to you, and then you realize, oh shit, I should talk slower. And then, but notice how the program keeps kicking in. Like you'll probably just find yourself doing it. Well, what I'm saying is this bioenergetic stuff releases those blocks, and then you just find yourself without that problem anymore. This is key. This is how we break out of the matrix, so that if we all collectively do this, dude, we're not going to have Donald Daddy Trump ruling over us, bro. Like Donald Trump is almost a messenger from the cosmos, meaning like we are the ones that are like dumb. Like we're the ones that vote for these clowns. It's not like their fault. They're just here basically showing us like, look how stupid your decisions are to put us in power instead of yourself. You're the one who should sit in the throne of power over yourself where it righteously belongs, not trying to control others sitting in their throne of power that's interfering with their own sovereignty. When you do that to them, you do that to yourself, because we're all one. It's karma. You should not be initiating harm to others. You should do unto others as you would like them to do unto you, or more better put, like you should not do to others what you wouldn't want done to yourself. This is the process that we are engaging in, of learning how to rule ourselves so we don't have to be ruled or rule others. We can actually come into a place of sovereign rulership over the mind. So again, I haven't said much about how to do bioenergetics. I recommend Devaraj Sandberg. He's the best resource on this. Devaraj Sandberg. Okay, it'll be in the description. And like he has great follow along workouts. I would start with the bow and arch. Learn how to do the bow and arch, and then do it for maybe a minute up, a minute down, or 2 minutes up, 2 minutes down at first, and then work your way up, because you don't want to just go full on into it. It's better to do it consistently every day than to overwhelm yourself and have a big emotional release and then be like, oh, I'm never doing that again. No, get into a consistent routine and you'll start to move energy and remove blocks. This is called bioenergetics. Okay, you're starting to unlock the aspects of your psyche that are actually represented in your physical body, in this, okay, in your physical expression, right? You start to release those throat blocks and those belly blocks, and now you can communicate your boundaries better. You can say, no, I will not fucking stay home. Fuck you, okay? You can get into this place of power, where what you say is hitting, because, like I said, there's less blockages. So that player of your body in the simulation, it just goes, hey, you, what's up? How's it going? Welcome back to the video, right? Rather than like this shtick, it's more authentic. There's less getting in the way of my communication. Well, it's the same with my actions in life. And this is what we want. More free will, more awareness, higher consciousness. Once you start moving this energy, clearing out these patterns, clearing out the cobwebs of your mind, you're not just going to be some normie, okay? Though you do still need knowledge. There's plenty of people that do this kind of work and they are still like, they have no idea what's going on in the world because they don't have the knowledge. It's more than just doing this stuff, but this is a key component of it. The psychological work on yourself.
If happiness pursued is not attained, there must, according to the mystique of the American way of life, be some remediable cause. The fault, dear Freud, is not in our stars, but in our bodies. Dr. Lowen is one of those who considers that he knows how to apply the requisite corrective.
We represent a school of psychiatry that believes in using the body as part of the therapeutic situation, therapeutic experience. We believe that psychiatric problems are reflected also in physical tensions, and that these physical tensions have to be released if an effective psychiatric approach is to succeed.
All right, try the nose.
No!
But
No!
get much stronger.
No! I won't! Oh! Oh!
Very good.
If you enjoyed this, if you learned something, click subscribe, click like, click the link in the description to join the Telegram chat. And then we can chat about whatever questions you may have about life, natural law, philosophy, bettering yourself as a person, charisma, bioenergetics, health, nutrition, whatever you want. All right, so click that shit down below and start becoming charismatic rebels yourself. Peace out.